Hi, I'm Jorge. It is great to be with you all here at the Meta Conversations event. In the previous session, you learned how to send your first business message using the Messenger API for Instagram. In this session, we will walk through how to build a complete conversational commerce experience on Instagram and Messenger. The Messenger platform offers key advantages. First, your customers are very likely already on Instagram or Messenger, so there is no need to install new apps and there is a stronger identity profile. Second, in-thread richer templates, buttons, videos, and images will help you have really engaging conversations. Third, the user ID remains constant. This allows businesses to pick up earlier conversations right where they're left off, like when a customer reaches out to get support. And we, of course, provide best-in-class scale, reliability, and support to help make sure that the messaging channel is always available for people to connect with your business. There are various ways to discover businesses on Instagram and Facebook. Today, we're going to walk through some of the key components that will help you achieve outcomes over messaging, starting from reach, then to engagement, and finally from converting shoppers into buyers. We're going to use this fictional business called Original Coast Clothing for this session, and we will go over key building blocks to create this experience. One of the first steps on the commerce journey is a customer discovering the business and initiating a conversation. On Instagram, some of the most common ways to start a conversation are via commenting on an Instagram post or a live video. These comments offer a great opportunity for the business to engage with that customer and answers any questions that they might have. In this example, a customer has just commented with the post phrase, "I love it." Once a business gets that engagement, in this case in the form of a comment, the business can then send a private reply to the shopper. They can provide additional information about the product mentioned or even offer up a discount. Once your app is subscribed to the Instagram account, the comment will be sent to your server in the form of a webhook. Webhooks are the main way Meta servers will ping your app with events that the app is subscribed to, such as comments posted on a business post or a person sending you a message. In this example, shows how a webhook shape looks in the case of a comment. Notice that the webhook contains the user ID with the author and the content of the comment for the business to reply. Now, how do we actually send that reply? Using Private Replies API, an app can make a post request to send a message, in this case with the comment ID as the recipient and the private message you want to send. Like in the example, we are replying, "Glad you like the shirt." The person receiving the reply will get a link to the original post, your message, and a set of call action buttons on the thread with your business. Make sure to include quick replies on the first message to make sure that it's easier for the customer to reply. Quick replies allow businesses to present guided conversations with buttons to trigger supported flows. In this example, I'm still not sure what the best product for me to buy, so I'm presented with a quiz with 3 quick reply buttons to ask me for the target occasion. When a quick reply is tapped, the buttons are dismissed, and the title of the tap button is posted to the conversation as a message. Personalization is key for a successful conversation with a business. User Profile API allows businesses to query common user information such as the username, the profile picture, and even additional information like the number of followers and the verification status. This allows responses to be personalized with the username. Let's say that the user is an influencer with thousands of followers or an Instagram verified account. You might want to prioritize these users' messages through a separate queue for VIP service. Additionally, Note that the Instagram scope user ID provided via webhooks will stay the same for future conversations. If the business has already connected with the user in the past, that context can be used to have much more effective conversations with the returning customer. Think of a returning customer asking you, "Where is my order?" And then the business being able to reply straight away. This is the beauty of engaging with your audience through Instagram and Messenger. You know who the customer is, you're chatting with a real person, and you can personalize the service based on that. Now, Nihal is going to share how to engage with customers and convert them into buyers.
Thanks, Jorge. Once the customer completes the product quiz, they are presented with three curated options for products. The Instagram messaging platform supports a generic template that allows you to send a structured message that can include an image, text, and buttons. Moreover, one message can have multiple templates, each of which can be horizontally scrollable. And as you can see, the carousel supports images to help create a highly rich experience. Here's how you can send a generic template using our APIs. Make a post request to the recipient with attachment as template and template type as generic. If you want to send multiple templates in the message as shown in the slides, you can do so by adding the templates in the elements array field. Each template can support both a postback and a web URL button. Notice how the URL in this slide contains a token suffix. In this example, the button Shop This Look allows a web view to open your brand website. The power of personalizing the URL means that you can match the internal conversation with your internal systems so that if the user completes the checkout flow on your website, you can then send the customer a message into the thread thanking them for their business and providing them with useful information such as their order number and the delivery timeframe for their order. Let's say that after placing an order with your business, the customer realizes that they gave you the wrong address and want to reach out to you for help. We all know that no one wants to pick up the phone and wait on hold while this problem is fixed. Instead, the customer can easily find the Talk to an Agent option in the persistent menu. The persistent menu is located in the top right of the thread. You get to decide what the predefined options in this menu are. The persistent menu can hold not only postback buttons, but also URL links that are useful for people. Setting the persistent menu is easy. The persistent menu supports localization, and all you need to do is make a post request to our APIs with one or more locales and a list of call to actions. You can choose the type of each call to action, whether it's a postback button or a URL. We recommend setting up to 5 items for the best user experience. In this example, we've set up the Talk to an Agent option as a postback button with the payload as Care Help. When the customer taps on the Talk to an Agent option, your app will receive a messaging postback webhook with the developer-defined payload. In this case, it's Care to Help. You can then use this payload to customize the in-thread messaging experience. For example, your app can use the payload to determine the fact that the customer needs live support, and you could choose to use our handover protocol to pair the customer with a live agent to have a more effective conversation. Once a human agent is applying, we encourage apps to use the human agent tag on the send API request. The best part of what we've shown you today is that if you want to deploy the same experience on Instagram and on Messenger, you can do so with very little adjustments. The API is very similar across both the platforms and the concepts are shared. You can access the source code for both Instagram messaging and Messenger experiences that we walked you through today by scanning the 2 QR codes. Now that you've learned how to build an experience to sell products over Instagram and Messenger, learn how you can re-engage with the buyers over messaging. Don't miss our next session on how to build re-engagement experiences on Messenger using recurring notifications. Thank you for attending this session, and thank you so much for having me.